Good morning, good afternoon, or good night for those of you who do this at midnight. Welcome to the Trulin Rude Video Learning by Example.
Woohoo! We're almost at the end. We are at the end of chapter 3. So this is it, boys and girls. You will be expecting a test sometime in the near future.
Here we go with the title, Solving Radical Equations, and we're going to move right into our first example. Before we do that, let's check out the algorithm for today, which is that step-by-step procedure. First one we got, square root of x minus 2 equals 5. Let's go with the steps.
All right, so step 1, solve for the radical. That means we want to get the radical by itself, nobody with it.
Is it by itself?
I think there's a minus 2 with it.
Well, we're talking about the radical, and since that minus 2 is under the radical, we're good to go.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I'll do better, I swear.
Step 2, square both sides. Why do we do that, Miss Trulin?
Well, I believe square root means 2. And the opposite of square rooting is squaring. That's why they're next to each other on the same calculator key. They undo each other. They're opposite operations.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's on the calculator, that button that says squared, x squared. If you hit the second x squared, you're going to get the square root. Inverse operations, opposite operations.
Awesome. And the last is very important.
And if you forget the check, shame on you.
Because there are things that are called extraneous roots that start popping up.
And that check is just...
That was easy.
So easy.
And you can check on a calculator. We can teach you how to store and recall on a calculator.
All right, so let's get right into the example. First, that first step we said was completed. We got that radical by itself. Second step, we're going to square both sides. So let's do that now.
All right, so I'm going to take parentheses and put it around one side of the equation, the entire side, and then I will square the other entire side.
Well, I'll do the easy part, the right-hand side. I know 5 squared is 25.
All right, and on the other side, there is that inverse operations going on. A square and a square root cancel each other out, so we're just left with x minus 2 equals 25.
Oh my gosh, that can't be right. Is it really this easy?
Oh my goodness, this is like a 5th grade problem.
So what's x equal to? I'm assuming it's 27.
Woohoo!
Okay.
All right, but now we have our famous check. Always check, make sure. So let's do a check-in. What color would you like, Mr. Rude?
Let's go with blue.
Okay, blue. So the square root of... I'm going to put my answer in red so you can see that that's the one we're checking. Equal 5. Well, the square root, 27 minus 2 is 25. And 5 equals 5.
Good to go. Moving into example 2. 1 plus the square root of x plus 5, that entire thing under the radical, equals x.
Well, hold on a second here. I'm going to come back and I need that chart again.
So what do we do? Well, let's follow our algorithm step by step. We have to solve for the radical, which means get it by itself.
All right, I don't want to mess up like I did the last time. So this is the radical, so it's not by itself because there's a 1 hanging on to it.
So I first have to think, how do I get rid of that positive 1 on the left and move it over to the right?
All right, I got this. We're just going to minus 1 from both sides. So I'm going to be left with the square root of x plus 5 equals, and on the right-hand side, I'm going to have x minus 1.
Now please remember, it is x minus 1 just like it's read. It is not negative 1x. For those of you who thought that, read it as it is. X minus 1.
All right, good to know. All right, whoops. Get my x and my minus 1 back. All right, square both sides of the equation. Okay, I did the last step, Mr. Rude. You got to do this step.
All right, we're going to square the radical, and then we're going to square the x minus 1 quantity on the right-hand side. So that leads to the conclusion of a square root knocks out with the square on the left, just leaving us the x plus 5. And on the right, that's a basic FOIL problem. Uh-oh, that F word, I said it. It's FOIL. X minus 1 times x minus 1. You must do a double distribution.
All right, now, you should be able to multiply this out really quickly. When we square a binomial, there's a really easy shortcut. I know I've mentioned it before, but just to bring up some other people who may have not heard it, this is what happens. Square the first term. Square the last term. Now we know these are going to get multiplied together, negative x, but two of them are going to show up, so we get negative 2x. So we want you to start doing that in your head. I mean, you may still have to do the old double distribution. X squared minus x plus 1. But you see what happens? We get the doubles in the middle. So let's try getting that shortcut under control.
That's a really good mental math practice for you.
All right. Beep, beep, beep. Every time we see a squared, we're going to have to... That's right, Mr. Rude. You whispered it. But we're going to have to set equal to 0 and factor anytime we see a squared.
Okay. So we have to set this equal to 0 in order to factor and solve. So let's move everything from the left to the right. So we're going to subtract x, subtract 5, do it to the right-hand side, and we'll get x squared minus,
Whoops.
Minus 3x minus 4.
All right, so now we got to factor that.
We know that x squared breaks up into x and x. What multiplies to that 4 but adds or subtracts to that negative 3?
Well, it's going to be a 4 and a 1, because I know a 4 and a 1 are 3 away from each other. So now I need to have a negative 4 and a positive 1, because that would leave me with a negative 4x plus 1x gets me a negative 3x.
And recall, when you set it up and you do the xx and the 4, 1, to get those symbols, you're going to look at the center negative 3x term. If you look at that center negative 3x term, you realize it's a negative middle term. So you say to yourself, is the 4 or the 1 the larger number? The 4 is. So that must get the same symbol as the middle term. So that's why, let's reinforce, that's why the negative goes with the 4 and not the 1.
Yep. I called that bridges and tunnels in my class. So it's the same thing. You want to build a bridge in the tunnel and make sure that 1 carries the correct symbol. All right, so now we've got almost to our answer. We set each factor equal to 0, which we really can do quickly by now. We don't have to write all this out. And we find out we have two possible answers of 4 and negative 1.
And we're done. Right?
No.
Oh, that's right. The 3. The third step. The check. The most important.
All right. He's getting a little carried away, but all right. So there are two answers, negative 1 and 4. So my equation, I got to go back and grab it. 1 plus the square root of x plus 5 equals x.
Okay, so we're going to plug in our negative 1 for the x. So let's change that color. So we see 1 plus square root of negative 1 plus 5. That will equal our negative 1. Let's check it out.
All right, so let's do some math here. 1 plus, okay, negative 1 plus 5 is 4. The square root of 4, whoops.
That's just a 2.
The square root of 4 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. That
doesn't equal negative 1, not in our books.
Negative 1. That
what
is
just happened?
A reject.
Rejection.
Answer.
Rejection.
All right. No play for Mr. Gray, for those of you who watch Mets games. Okay.
Mets.
Yeah.
Who watches the Mets? Come on, Yankees
Let's
rule.
go Orioles.
And game 5 will
Let's
determine
go
it all.
Orioles.
Yeah, right. Come on.
All right, so let's go back to checking here. Whoops. Come on. Come on. There we go. So we got to put a -1 in here.
Oh, no. 4.
Oh, la,
Four,
la,
four.
la, la. I was getting all caught
Miss
up with those
Truland.
Orioles.
Oh, that was a good one. That was good. I like that.
Talented, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
All right.
Okay, so I'll do this one. This just comes out to 1 plus the square root of 9 I automatically know is 3. And I know that 1 plus 3 is 4. So we're done. 4 is the only solution because 4 equaled 4 and it checked. Once again, we thought we had 2, but we had to reject 1 out of the 2 answers. Make sure you check because this could happen on a quiz or test. If you don't check, why should you lose the points? Just remember the check. Look how easy it was.
All right. Okay, so we can do this one without our little steps because I think I remember it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to get the radical alone. So this 5 gets kicked to the other side. And I'm left with square root of y equals -2.
Okay, so you have a square root, so I know the opposite of square root is square, so I'll square both sides at this point.
Okay, but does anybody see something? Just think about it. We're going to keep going, but tee-hee, we could have had this answer. Whoops. Lickety-split, but we'll keep going.
Okay, so we have square root of y, quantity squared, equals -2 quantity squared. So I get y equals +4. Are we done? Well, let's perform our check real quick. 5 plus the square root of 4 equals 3. Is 5 plus 2 equal to 3?
No!
Who sees it? Who sees it?
All right, hopefully some of the geniuses in the crowd, that would be you, Jack, stepped forward at this point of the problem right here and realized that a square root can never equal a negative number unless we had a negative in the front, but we don't have that. So you could have stopped right here and said, this is impossible. Our friend, the null set. There is no answer to this problem.
Make sure you recall, make sure you remember that if you're looking at a question that says the square root equals a negative number from any point in the problem, from the start or the middle of the problem, you're automatically done because that makes no sense. The positive isn't written, but it's understood. It goes back to the whole idea when we write x down, there's really a 1 in front of it. So in this case, we have a symbol, square root y, and we have to understand that it's just the positive, because positives are just never written.
Now, if they had written something like this,
then we know after you take the square root, you affix the negative or multiply by that -1. And
right.
Therefore, we would result in an answer. But we're not going to go there for this one, because we
No.
automatically know it makes no sense.
That's the imaginary chapter, which I believe is right around the corner.
I can't wait.
Okay, last one.
Example 4. If 2 radicals appear, solve for one of the radicals. So let's take a look at an example.
All right, so that was like when you were saying get the radical alone. Right now, I've got this radical, and I've got this second radical attached to it, like your annoying brother or sister who's always around you when you don't want them around. So kick them to the other side of the problem.
And for those of you who are looking at the problem, we want to make sure that we're moving that -2 radical x plus 8 over, not the other one. We always want to move from a negative to a positive to make our lives a lot easier.
Exactly. And that too is connected by multiplication. So this is one whole term. It moves all as one. All right, so what was that second step, Mr. Rude? What do we have to do now?
So that second step was to square both sides.
And both sides. Once again, this 3 is connected, and this 2 is connected.
So we say it as 3 square root x minus 2 quantity squared equals 2 radical x plus 8 quantity squared. We always want to make sure that you're putting the entire left-hand side, the entire right-hand side in a bracket or parentheses and square the entire thing. So let's try it. 3 squared? 9. Square root of x minus 2 quantity squared? X minus 2.
Now notice I'm just kind of putting that in parentheses to remind you that this 3 was multiplying everybody in here. So when the square and the radical cancel out, we still have a quantity there.
On the right side, square 2 and you get 4. Square root and square are gone. We just get an x plus 8. Look how easy the problem is now.
Now let's fly through this because this video is getting a little long. This stuff is easy. We just distribute. We'll bring everything to the correct side. 5x equals 50. X equals 10.
We're done.
There's one left thing. You would check it, and we're going to leave that check for you guys.
Little homework. Hope you enjoyed the video.
All right. See you on Monday.
Or Tuesday.
Or something like that.
Adios.
Bye.